Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Daybreak. I'm Juliana Brock.
And I'm Colleen Winder. In this week's episode, you'll hear about a local high school that recently had an unfortunate scare.
We also have the scoop on all of our Valentine's Day events here on campus, as well as some other exciting things happening around the city. Love is truly in the air.
Reporter Cade Montgomery will tell you what you need to know about the recent earthquake up in New York. And of course, reporters Nick Konopka and Addison Deal are here to share this week's latest in politics and entertainment.
Stay tuned and we'll have all this and more coming up. Wake up and smell the coffee, Pittsburgh. Daybreak starts right now.
Welcome back. Before we hand it over to our reporters, here's your weekly weather update with Nick Konopka.
Thanks, Colleen and Juliana. If you've been enjoying the increase in temperatures these past few days, you're in luck. Things might just be getting even warmer. A few days in the upcoming week will include those highs reaching the low 50s, much better than weather than we've been experiencing. Although, watch out for some wind chill and some occasional precipitation, as we are unfortunately still in the middle of winter. Hopefully, Punxsutawney Phil seeing his shadow won't have too much bearing on our weather moving forward. That's it for this weather report. Now back to our hosts.
Thanks so much, Nick.
Reporter Cade Montgomery is here to share the details regarding the massive earthquake that New York faced over the weekend.
Take it away, Cade.
Thank you, Colleen and Juliana. Many citizens in the Buffalo, New York area were woken up to a shock on Monday morning when a 3.8 magnitude earthquake shook the ground. The earthquake was reported at 6:15 a.m. on February 6th. ABC 7 New York reported that the epicenter of the quake was found in West Seneca, which is southeast of the city of Buffalo. NBC News reported that since 1983, this area has experienced 24 earthquakes above a 2.5 magnitude, with this one being the strongest in the last 40 years. The West Seneca Police Department released a post on Facebook that read, quote, "Well, good morning, everyone. Just your usual Buffalo morning earthquake. Back to bed," end quote. The Twitter account named Earthquakes Canada revealed that the earthquake was first registered at a 4.2 magnitude, but it was later confirmed by USGS, the United States Geological Survey, that the magnitude was a 3.8. Erie County officials report that the earthquake could be felt as far north as Niagara Falls and as far south as Orchard Park. Erie County Executive Mark Polencars wrote on his Twitter, quote, "It felt like a car hit my house in Buffalo. I jumped out of bed," end quote. Though a 3.8 magnitude earthquake is not necessarily huge in comparison to other earthquakes around the globe, it was still quite the scare for the people of Buffalo. Reporting for Daybreak, I'm Cade Montgomery.
That's really sad.
It really is.
You wouldn't expect that to happen in Buffalo. I feel like that's something you would expect in...
But earthquakes are kind of on the rise right now, especially with what's happening in Turkey and Syria. It's just kind of odd to see it happening so close to us.
Right, and it's scary. Like, I couldn't even imagine being a part of an earthquake or anything.
I know, and like with this weather, like climate change and stuff, you know, we're getting a lot of chill, a lot of like really crazy weather happening, even in Pittsburgh.
Right, I mean,
let alone earthquake.
Right, we heard about the weather from Nick, but I mean, it's crazy. I couldn't imagine.
Thanks so much, Cade.
We'll be right back with this week's campus news. For now, enjoy the break. Stay tuned, everyone.
Hey.
Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. My name is Craig Ferkowski.
Tonight, we'll cover all your international, national, and local news.
Australia is one of the most biodiverse countries on the planet.
Over 8,000 items are to be auctioned off at Pittsburgh International Airport on October 22nd.
Last Thursday, the House committee investigating the January 6th attack chose to subpoena former President Donald Trump. All this and more coming up on Newsnight.
Valentine's Day festivities to other upcoming events, we have a lot going on at Point Park in the upcoming week.
It's time for your campus news, Point Park.
Are you in love, want to spend time with your partner, or just want to get down to some funky music? If so, come feel the love with Pioneer Records' Losers to Lovers Valentine's Day Dance. This event will be held Thursday, February 9th from 7 to 9:30 p.m. in the Lawrence Hall Ballroom. This special event has dress code: red if you're single, pink if you're taken, white if it's complicated, and purple if you are not looking for anything. So come on out and find a little romance with Pioneer Records.
Steelers legend Rocky Bleier is coming to Point Park's second annual celebration of Myron Cope Day on February 20th. There will be 4 panel events held to discuss the legacy of Myron Cope and his career as a communication professional in Pittsburgh. The day will be filled with lots of exciting panelists as the schedule comes out. Other special guests that are on the panel are Gene Collier, Sally Wiggin, Guy Junker, and Elizabeth Cope, who will all be in attendance at this event. This will all be taking place on the 3rd floor of Lawrence Hall and will be emceed by Guy Junker and Point Park's Dean of the School of Communication, Bernie Ankney. Bernie stated, quote, "Myron Cope forged a legendary career that is worthy of both honor and reflection. His importance to the Pittsburgh communication landscape is reflected by this impressive group of people taking part in this day to honor and discuss his legacy and impact," end quote. This event is free and open to the public, and registration will be available online. This will all be broadcasted live on the School of Communications YouTube page for all to watch. It will certainly be a day full of exciting speakers and stories. School of Comm students, you don't want to miss it.
Get ready for Valentine's Day with a very special gift at CAB's Bear to Build event on February 11th from 8 to 10 p.m. in the Student Center's 2nd floor. Here you can create a fluffy best friend or a gift for a special someone for the upcoming holiday. This isn't the only gift event, as CAB is hosting Candyland, an event where you can, quote, try candy from around the world and make a candy bag and card for yourself, friends, or whoever is important to you, end quote. This will be held on February 14th from 1 to 3 p.m. in room 200 in Lawrence Hall. Oh, are you going to this dance?
I might. I'm not sure.
I think you should.
I like the idea of wearing different colors to say your status. I think that's fun.
And you got pink already on.
I know. What does pink mean again?
It's taken.
Oh, okay, then that's...
And since you're taken, are you going to that berry special event that's going on?
Cute.
I
That'd be
know,
fun. Is it
right?
like Build-A-Bear?
It is like Build-A-Bear.
That would be cute.
I'm so excited to go.
Yeah, my roommate just went to Build-A-Bear and brought back the cutest little bear that she made. And I was kind of thinking, like, it'd be fun to make one, so I might have to go.
Right, and especially with, like, candy. I love Valentine's Day. I love giving gifts to so many of my friends and family.
And
so,
all
like,
the
giving
cute themed
candy.
candies, too.
Yes, around the world.
That's cute.
I
I might
mess with
actually have to
that.
go. I think I'm going to attend.
And at School of Comm.
Yes.
We have to watch that YouTube thing.
Yes, we're just gonna do it all together. We'll do it. You and me all
Back-to-back
together.
events.
Back to back. It'll be a blast.
Right.
It'll be a blast.
After this break, we'll start by diving into this week's Pittsburgh news. Hear about the Valentine's Day event going on at our very own PNC Park, and what furry friend got featured in a local yearbook.
Then we'll hand things over to our reporters and finish off with this week's Ray of Sunshine.
Daybreak will be right back.
Welcome back to Daybreak. We hope you enjoyed the break and that you're ready to hear more.
Now, without further ado, we present your city news.
A typical school evening took a terrifying turn when a gunman was reported outside of the school. Mars Area High School was just finishing up an intense basketball game against South Fayette on Friday, February 10th, when a gunman was reported in the parking lot. Mars Area basketball coach Rob Carmody told the Trib, quote, "I was literally 1 or 2 sentences into my talk when an athletic trainer came running through the doors and yelled, 'Shut the doors, there's potentially a gun on campus,' end quote. Coaches and players were forced to lock down in various rooms on the lower level of the building. All players of the Mars team, 4 coaches, a statistician, and an athletic trainer all crammed into one room during the event, hoping things wouldn't get worse. Luckily, no one was injured. Police quickly gathered at the scene and captured the individual with the weapon. Mark Gross, Mars Area Superintendent, said in a statement on the district website, quote, "Please note that the individual with the weapon was not a Mars Area student. Adams Township Police is continuing to investigate," end quote. The identity of the individual has not been released yet.
Calling all runners, joggers, and walkers, the nonprofit organization Community Options are holding a fundraising 5K. The organization's mission, quote, "believes in the dignity of every person and the freedom of all people to experience the highest degree of self-determination." Community Options work with individuals with significant disabilities through residential services, day programs, social enterprises that employ individuals with disabilities, high school transition programs, and specialized programs for respite and medically fragile adults, end quote. You can register online or before the event will start at 10 a.m. on Saturday at the PNC Park Left Lounge. Here you'll get a Love-themed Under Armour t-shirt, a souvenir finisher medal, and a themed swag bag. Get your running shoes on, Pioneers. There's no better time to get active.
A special guest will be making an appearance in the Camp Hill School District's yearbook. Canine Detective Gibbs was invited to get his picture taken for the yearbook as students didn't want their furry friend to be left out. According to WHTM News, Detective Gibbs was the first ever canine facility dog in the Camp Hill School District. Honor 25, the Jonathan Fagan Memorial Scholarship, pays for the cost and care of Gibbs. According to their website, Gibbs was trained by Phoenix Service Dogs and honors the memory of Jonathan Fagan, who was a Camp Hill graduate that unfortunately passed away in 2018 due to anaphylactic shock. Gibbs began his duties with Officer Joe Capers, and he brings smiles and joy to all of the students. So much, in fact, that they wanted to honor him in the yearbook. That's such a cute story about the dog.
I
The picture is so precious.
Really?
It is the cutest thing. We should have a yearbook. Do we have a yearbook for Point Park? We could put all of the dogs that they bring in for therapy.
That's what they did for my high school.
Oh,
yeah.
It's so cute.
And honestly,
love
I
that.
really enjoy the fact that high schools and other schools are doing this because you see a lot of stories like this where they're like,
Right.
oh, like a medical dog or like a therapy
Right.
dog that get
And
put in
it
the yearbook.
helps. Yes, we had them at my high school as well, and it always made my day. That dog is the cutest thing in the world. But speaking of high schools, the Mars area incident.
Oh.
So Mars is right next to where I live, and that's where all my friends go. So seeing that story was really scary because that's so close to home.
Honestly.
I was like, oh my goodness, thank God nothing happened. But the idea of just even that,
Being your area
right,
is
the
crazy.
idea of being just 10 minutes down the road or people I know potentially being on lockdown, that's just really frightening.
I'm glad no one got injured though.
I know, thank goodness. It all ended up working out. It's just unfortunate that it had to happen.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we share this week's Ray of Sunshine, reporters Nick Konopka and Addison Deal are here to share the latest in your political and entertainment news.
First is Nick Konopka with this week's Politismack. Nick?
Thanks, guys. Welcome back to Politismack. I'm Nick Konopka. Tonight, Tuesday, February 7th, is a big night for politics. Right now in Allegheny County, voters are casting their ballots in 3 special elections that are set to solidify Pennsylvania Democrats' majority in the state house. And in just a few hours, President Biden will deliver his second State of the Union address before Congress. But since we don't know how either of those events will play out, this week we're going to focus on the supposed Chinese spy balloon that was shot down by the U.S. on Saturday. Looking at this map, we can see that the balloon entered the U.S. airspace near Alaska on Saturday, January 28th. That's according to the Department of Defense. After traveling all the way through Canada, the balloon re-entered the United States here. This is when President Biden was first briefed on the matter. On Wednesday, the president the president commanded, the balloon to be shot down, but military leaders suggested that they wait until it's over water to avoid collateral damage. 2 days later, Secretary of State Antony Blinken canceled his planned trip to China, where he was to meet with President Xi Jinping. In his remarks, Blinken affirmed that the government was, quote, confident the craft was a Chinese surveillance balloon. The balloon was shot down here off the coast of Myrtle Beach, right here. On Saturday, after flights in and out of nearby airports were halted. The Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs called the act an overreaction, saying the balloon was meant for meteorological and research purposes. The next day, congressional Republicans took to the Sunday talk shows to criticize the Biden administration's response to the debacle. Senator Ted Cruz told Face the Nation that the administration shot the balloon, quote, as a matter of politics rather than national security, end quote. And on ABC's This Week, Senator Marco Rubio said the episode made the U.S. look weak, with the president waiting as the balloon crossed over nuclear weapon sites. Moving back to our map, we can see that the balloon did in fact cross over several of the country's missile silos, as seen here. According to the Defense Department, it is unlikely that China gained any new information that they would not have otherwise known from satellite images. The Navy was able to recover the balloon's remnants on Sunday, and the debris is currently being examined by FBI labs for possible self-destructing explosives. While this episode in American foreign relations may not have had major security ramifications, the back and forth between the U.S. and China is yet another example of heightened tensions between the two world superpowers. That's it for PolitisMac this week. I'll be back next week to recap Biden's State of the Union and what it may say about his 2024 re-election. But until then, let's send it back to our hosts.
Thanks, Nick. Now our reporter Addison Deal is here with your entertainment.
2023 Grammys were last night, and it was truly a historic night, especially for Beyonce. During the night, the Queen claimed the title of the most awards won by a single artist, with 32 Grammys to her name. Knowles received a total of 4 more throughout the night, 2 of them being awarded off-air at the pre-show, and the first of the in-person awards being missed due to her late appearance on the show. After being announced the winner, the night's host Trevor Noah announced to the crowd that she was, quote, stuck in traffic. While Knowles did win a few Grammys, fans were upset that the singer was snubbed in the major categories, such as Album of the Year for her album Renaissance. The category was awarded to singer Harry Styles for his album Harry's House, making many Beyonce fans upset. Styles' acceptance speech featured his appreciation for the other artists in the category, saying, quote, I've been so inspired by every artist in this category with me, in a lot of different times in my life. I've listened to everyone in this category. It's so obviously important for us to remember that there is no such thing as best in music. This is really kind. I'm so grateful, end quote. Other notable wins in the night include Sam Smith and Kim Petras winning Best Pop Duo/Group Performance for their song Unholy. They are the first non-binary person and first transgender woman to win the award. Viola Davis officially reached EGOT status after winning Best Audiobook Narration in Storytelling for her memoir Finding Me, presented at the off-air premiere ceremony. Finally, Lizzo snagged the Record of the Year Grammy Award for her song About Damn Time. The singer dedicated her win to 2 of her idols, Prince and of course Beyonce, saying, quote, Beyonce, in the 5th grade, I skipped school to see you perform. You changed my life, so thank you so much. You are clearly the artist of our lives. I love you, end quote.
Thanks, everyone. In case this is your first time joining us or you need a little refresher, Ray of Sunshine is our way of starting your day with a smile and inspirational quote.
The value we'll be focusing on today is honesty. Honesty with yourself and honesty with others.
Our quote for this week is from James Altucher and reads, honesty is the fastest way to prevent a mistake from turning into a failure.
That is true.
It really is.
I mean, if you can be honest about something, even if you're not proud of it, I feel like that's the best case, because lying only digs your hole deeper, you know what I mean?
It digs you into a deep hole, and especially with like academics, like plagiarism or like missing class, specifically with plagiarism,
right.
You think it's a quick fix, right? You think it's nothing of it, but you forget to feel that this is your skill you're building on. You're building the skill to write, you're building the skill to do things, and as you keep plagiarizing, as you keep doing this, it ultimately ends up in a failure because you can't do those skills.
Right, or even honesty, like in a relationship, like with your family member or significant other, you have to stay honest at all times, otherwise you're cheating yourself and the person, it's not worth it. It's just a waste of time,
Yeah,
honestly.
in the end, and you'll end up feeling bad either way.
Right, you just gotta be authentic. You gotta be true to yourself.
Yeah.
That's it for this episode of Daybreak. Thank you all so much for watching.
You can catch clips from all our previous Daybreak episodes on our YouTube at UView Television.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at DaybreakPPU. Until next time, I'm Juliana Brock.
And I'm Colleen Winder, hoping your news is great news. See you next week, everyone.